Hello everybody. In this video, we'll try to understand what happens when Ketu is in the second house of a horoscope for Virgo ascendant. And the second house for Virgo ascendant is actually the Libra. So the sign Libra builds up the second house for Virgo ascendant. And then we're considering this particular Ketu is in the Chitra nakshatra third pada, which is actually starting this sign Libra. Now, as Ketu is in the third pada of Chitra nakshatra, it's going to be in the Libra sign only in the Navamsha. So it's a kind of Vargotama. In the Rashi chart, Ketu is in the sign Libra, and in the Navamsha chart also this Ketu is in the sign Libra. Now, see this particular placement here, the Lagna, that is the ascendant we are considering here, is Virgo ascendant. And Ketu is in the second house, a sign is Libra. The nakshatra is Chitra nakshatra and the pada is third pada, and in the Navamsha also this particular Ketu is in the sign Libra. It's a Vargotama because in the Rashi chart and in the Navamsha chart the sign is same, that is Libra. So this is a very, very significant Ketu. Definitely it's a very, very significant Ketu because Ketu is Vargotama here. The moment Ketu is Vargotama, it's going to change the environment or the nature of the entire horoscope, because Ketu is such an important planet in the whole Vedic astrology. Now, another important thing is here Ketu is occupying the Maraka house or the death causing house, that is the second house. So in Vedic astrology, the second house is also called as the Maraka house, which is death inflicting house. And another important thing here is the sign Libra belongs to Venus. Of course, Taurus also belongs to Venus, but Venus is very, very duty minded in the sign Libra, and that's where we call Libra as the Mula Trikona house for Venus. It's a kind of duty performing house for Venus. And this Ketu is in the Mars nakshatra, which is Chitra nakshatra here. So, and this Ketu is not only under the influence of Mars and Venus, it's also a Vargotama Ketu. Just imagine this Ketu's nature here. Ketu is Mars nakshatra, is in Mars nakshatra, which is Chitra nakshatra, but there are some significant qualities of Chitra nakshatra that are the kind of architecture, the kind of expertise that Chitra has. So we'll see that what is Chitra nakshatra and how it is going to impact this Ketu here. So it's a very, very strong Ketu, no need to say it. The qualities of this Ketu become very, very pronounced, we can say. And when Ketu is in the second house, everybody says, okay, your family is impacted by this particular Ketu's energy. Ketu doesn't love families, the relationships, the kind of unnecessary emotions that are in the family. Ketu is not such a personality. Ketu is a kind of, it's a kind of sannyasi, we say. It's a kind of headless personality. Basically, Ketu does not have the head. And also, he's not into this relationships and materialism and all. He is a completely spiritual planet. A complete spiritual planet in the entire planetary system is Ketu. See, somebody having Ketu in the second house can be in the family, but he is a bit detached from the family relationships, because a sannyasi living in the family, a sannyasi in the grihasthasrama, we say. So that is the kind of Ketu you can observe here, because Ketu in the second house is that one. A speech of the person is also impacted. A speech, Ketu is headless planet, somebody headless, how he talks, just imagine. Speech can be very harsh, very straightforward, and he's very blunt. This particular personality, Ketu in the second house, is very blunt, because Ketu doesn't want, he doesn't expect some materialism or something. Somebody, a sannyasi, what is the benefit a sannyasi can get by speaking, by hiding something, or by talking like a most materialistic man? He cannot gain anything, because he doesn't want anything. This Ketu doesn't want anything. He's a kind of sannyasi. What about the food habits? Just imagine a sannyasi, what kind of food? He is detached from the materialistic things. What kind of food habits this person would have? Just imagine. We'll try to discuss in detail also, but just think yourself how a sannyasi, a spiritual person loves food, even at least in the initial days of their life, early days of their life. A person may love some kind of food, he may have some kind of food habits, but just imagine when the person is becoming matured, what kind of food habits the person would have. Just imagine. And wealth accumulation. A sannyasi, do you think he is very much interested in the wealth accumulation? So here, one thing I want to tell you here is the Ketu, of course, is in the sign of Libra, but the Libra is basically ruled by Venus, or controlled by Venus, because Libra is not the house of Ketu, even though Ketu is occupying it. Ketu is renting it. Ketu is just finishing his karma, some of the karmic things in this house, but it is not Ketu's house, it is Venus' house. Just imagine, Venus is ruling this particular Libra here at the second house. If Venus is very strong somewhere, what is Venusian qualities? Venus loves food. Venus loves relationships. Then Venus controls this Ketu. Even though the person inside somewhere he is like Ketu, he is detached from this relationship, but Venus is ordering this particular sannyasi to be in the relationship, to act like a good person in the family. But he is detached internally. He has that flavor of Ketu here, but still Venus is controlling it. Somewhere Venus is also very bad. Just imagine, Venus is debilitated somewhere. This person is a true sannyasi, that Venus has no enough strength to control this Ketu. So this Ketu is left something like nobody is controlling this Ketu now. Because of Venus, who is ruling the sign of Libra, itself is saying, I don't have enough energy to rule my own house, to perform my own duties, so I'm leaving this Ketu. I don't have enough power to control this Ketu. Oh Ketu, I'm leaving you. Just do whatever you want. Ketu is already a headless guy, and if this particular Ketu, which is present in the second house, just imagine how he talks. Ruthless talk, straightforward, blunt, doesn't care anybody, because even Venus is not controlling, is somewhere debilitated. Let us imagine. Venus is somewhere in Virgo. In Virgo it is debilitated. Just imagine the person. Headless personality, especially in the family relationship, in the speech, right? And even in the food habits. And just imagine the wealth accumulation. The wealth accumulation done by this particular personality is a kind of headless wealth accumulation. If somewhere the Mercury, which is the ascendant lord, is somewhere in a very in a Papa Yoga, or you'd say it's in a bad sign, it has enough strength but it is in a bad sign, the person would be very bad, and Ketu is in the second house, so wealth accumulation would be kind of unlimited. He would do all kind of sins and get money also, because the Virgo ascendant Lord Mercury is somewhere is very bad. Just imagine this person then. If Mercury is somewhere good, and also Venus is controlling this Ketu to some extent, so then this particular person can be at an average can be, at an average he is a good person. He accumulates wealth in a decent way. What about savings? The same thing. Wealth accumulation and savings, the same thing. And values of this particular personality. Venus is somewhere down, Mercury is somewhere down, very bad. Then Ketu is headless here, sitting in the second house. It doesn't have any values then. But if this Mercury is somewhere in a very, very good position, in a decent position, and Venus also has enough strength to control this Ketu, so the values are a bit, the person would have some good values. Kind of spiritual values. So the proportion we need to see. What's the strength of Venus here? What's the strength of Ketu? So especially Ketu is very strong basically. So Ketu has more say. If Venus has not enough dignity, it does not have enough dignity, Ketu is going to rule the second house here, right? Because this Ketu is very, very strong and powerful. And the face, eyes, lineage, early childhood of the personality of this particular native would be impacted by this Ketu only, because Ketu is in the second house. Astrologically, what is Ketu? You just ask the person who experienced the Ketu Mahadasha, he would tell you about Ketu, how he separated this particular native from the family at the time of Ketu Mahadasha. So also how he is detached from all the materialistic things, how he was fed up in his Ketu Mahadasha. So Ketu Mahadasha is very, very famous for separation, isolation, and then getting a kind of he wants to renounce all these materialistic things in his life. That is Ketu basically. So Ketu represents the detachment, spirituality, isolation, dissatisfaction, and mysticism, past life karmas, sudden events. In Ketu Mahadasha, everybody experiences the sudden events that are going to transform the person's life. So a new person will be born after Ketu Mahadasha, we say. Till Ketu Mahadasha, the person is one kind of a person. After Ketu Mahadasha, a new person is born from the same person. It's a kind of non-conventional behavior Ketu has. So when Ketu occupies this particular second house, it's clearly it's a kind of it can create a great impact in the family speech, food habits, and savings, values, and early childhood of this particular native. So the second house, which is falling in the sign Libra, which is ruled by Venus, and of course here Venus is ruling the second house and also the ninth house, because a ninth house here is basically Virgo, which is the house of ninth house is basically here Taurus for Virgo ascendant. So ninth house here is basically a Taurus, which is the house of fortune. Venus becomes one of the strongest benefic planets, of course. So Venus dignity is very, very important for this particular personality. So instead of destroying Venus completely, Ketu tends to spiritualize the Venusian matters also here. Venus of course tries to control Ketu, but Ketu and Venus, they work in a kind of cooperative environment. They try to work in a cooperative environment. Venus tries to control and also tell some good words or some kind of intelligent words to the Ketu, so that Ketu would be controlled. And Ketu would also try to show its headlessness, but tries to listen to Venus, and which is having more say is the most important thing. If your Venus is very, very, having very, very good dignity, of course, Venus is going to have more say. Otherwise, this Ketu, which is a Vargotama Ketu, would have more say. So, I would say, based on the strength of Venus and Ketu, I have seen some of the horoscopes where I met one of the persons having this particular placement, and in his life, he earned money unexpectedly and also he lost money unexpectedly. It happens in everybody's life, but what's the amount? the kind of amount he earned unexpectedly was huge, and the amount that he lost unexpectedly was also huge. That's what I observed. And unusual fields, earning through unusual fields, is one of the significant things that can happen in this particular person's life. So it's something like a huge money coming to the person unexpectedly happens, and huge money, the person may lose money unexpectedly, can also happen in this particular person's life for sure. Now, when this sannyasi is in the family, because this is the most sensitive area, family relationship, and seeing somebody having Ketu's energy in the family is something like it's a different personality present in the person. So the kind of emotional distance that this person maintains from the family is to look at it. It's a kind of you get a different feeling. And I have seen some people with Ketu in the second house, they are living away from the family. Or some people have some kind of unusual family background. If you listen to the family background, you might think, okay, this kind of families also exist. Yeah, this kind of families also exist in this world. This happens, right? So such kind of family backgrounds these people can have sometimes, and they would have some kind of karmic responsibilities towards family, even though they are away from the family. They have some karmic responsibilities towards family, because Ketu is all about some past life karma. Because of some past life debt, these people are, even though they are away from the family, they have to fulfill those karmic responsibilities, right? But definitely, I would say for this particular person, family is emotionally unavailable most of the times. But he or she, having this particular placement, does or some kind of activities, rituals related to Ketu. Yes, there is a possibility that the family can be emotionally available for this particular personality. See, the family is away maybe because, see, this person anyways has a very kind of sharp speech, blunt speech, very truthful. In families, you cannot have that blunt speech. When you have blunt speech, the families, the relationships would get disturbed automatically. You have to be always soft and, kind when you're speaking to your family members. Even though they are doing some mistakes, you have to control your speech. But these people, Ketu in the second house, how can they control their speech? They cannot. And sometimes they are very, very sarcastic also. They are philosophical. Their speech can be sarcastic or blunt or very truthful, philosophical, mysterious and sharp. These things do not fit in the family environment. That's where the problem comes, and the family may live away because of this kind of speech. And the food habits, of course, I would say a sannyasi, what kind of food the sannyasi would eat? The person may get a chance to do fasting so many days in his life. If not early days, after some 30s, 35 age, definitely kind of irregular eating or fasting or some kind of unusual food preferences. That is the expectation of this particular Ketu. And how much this Ketu would be, how much extent of this Ketu's energy is controlled, it depends upon the Venus. Because Venus is the owner of the house that Ketu is living in here, right? Just imagine the values, right? The values for this particular person, the person always says, what really matters? What kind of values? If somebody talks about values, this person having Ketu in the second house would say, what really matters? What values really matter? At the end of the day, everybody of us will die one day. What kind of values we should have? Just be spiritual. That's enough. So even material possessions for them, they lose importance with age. As they age, this material possessions would not, they do not take any value in their life. So that is a fundamental behavior. That's what I can see when somebody with Ketu in the second house comes to me. I would see the person like this only. because that's what astrology is teaching. The Vedic astrology is saying that. And if Venus is very much controlling this particular person, but still the person would have these qualities, at least some proportion of at least minimum to minimum, it's 30% of his qualities are like this only, what we talked so far. At least 30%. If Venus is not controlling this Ketu, this extent will go up to 70% as the person ages, and even sometimes 90% also as the person ages. So he has to do some propitiations for this particular Ketu, the rituals. We'll talk about some rituals at the end of the video. And what about the Chitra Nakshatra influence? What should I talk about Chitra Nakshatra? It's one of the greatest nakshatras in the whole nakshatra system. Is the nakshatra where, the architecture, people talk about architecture. In the universal scheme of things, or when the universe was born, let us say it was the creation of life happened in Ashwini, and then it was nourished in the Bharani. Like that, if you follow that kind of sequence, by the time the life is actually growing, by the time it reaches Hasta Nakshatra, in Hasta Nakshatra, the soul or the universal soul tries to learn some of the skills, the basic skills with hands or some fundamental skills. And in Chitra Nakshatra, those skills reach a great level, a great architecture level, I would say. So Chitra is an architect here. So the precision is very much important in Chitra. The engineering, the architecture, the design, the perfectionism, the competitiveness, these are all very, very important. And that is the beauty of this particular placement. So far we talked so many, a bit negative things about this particular placement, but as I'm seeing Ketu in the Chitra Nakshatra, I can say Ketu is also a master. He is a perfectionist, right? And Chitra is also perfectionist. Then I can definitely see, as I'm going deeper into this particular placement, I can see a perfectionist, because Ketu is in the Chitra Nakshatra. Irrespective of Venus somewhere or irrespective of Mars somewhere, I can see Ketu in the Chitra energy before me in the horoscope. He is a perfectionist. The person is a perfectionist. The precision, the engineering, the architecture, the design, the perfectionism, the competitiveness this person has is commendable, I would say. Right? And Ketu is in the Mars Nakshatra, basically makes the mind very analytical, technical, investigative, and capable of deep research. I can see a person who is a perfectionist capable of doing some deep research. So the person is excellent in some kind of coding or cyber security or occult sciences or surgery or mathematics, or you can say the advanced technologies. And that's what I can see when Ketu is in Chitra Nakshatra, because Ketu is a master, is a master, and Chitra is an architect. I can see a perfectionist here. And what about Chitra Nakshatra third pada? It's clearly showing the Ketu is going to be in the Libra sign only, in the Navamsha also. So the person would have some artistic intelligence, because the Libra is having some kind of importance here, because in the Rashi chart and in the Navamsha chart I am seeing Libra only. So artistic intelligence, a person with balancing logic with beauty, I can see that person. And Ketu here becomes less aggressive and more psychologically deep, because Ketu is in the Libra in the Rashi chart and also in the Libra sign in the Navamsha chart, which is making a Vargotama Ketu. So I'm seeing a native who can understand the human motives extremely well. He is a perfectionist in understanding the human motives extremely well. I can see that particular person, because I am going deeper now. I can see Ketu is in the Chitra Nakshatra third pada, that too this particular Ketu is going in the Vargotama. So it's a Vargotama Ketu. The most important feature of this particular placement is Vargotama Ketu. Vargottama means the planet occupies the same sign in both the birth chart and the Navamsha chart. So it strengthens the planet's ability to express its inherent nature. So what it means for Ketu? See, karmic lessons become very, very stronger in his life. Both the positive and challenging manifestations may be amplified because it's a very strong Ketu, very powerful Ketu. And what are the positive things about this Vargottama Ketu and what are the negative things about this Vargottama Ketu? The positive things, I would say, the extraordinary intuition power this particular person has, and the spiritual insight, strong research ability, independence from material attachment, and the kind of resilience he shows in crisis situations is exceptional, I would say that. And what kind of challenges I can see with this personality is a kind of, inner dissatisfaction I can see in this particular person. He might have achieved something great in his life, but innerly he is very, very dissatisfied. And sudden shifts in wealth or family dynamics can disturb this person a lot. The family dynamics and the sudden shifts, right? A very, very great research-minded personality, a perfectionist, disturbed by this family dynamics and sudden shifts in life. That's what I can see. That's a big challenge for this particular personality. So, this is the overall picture I can see. A deep intuition related personality, excellent researcher, and the kind of spiritual growth. The spiritual growth that this person gets is because of that family dynamics only, because of that sudden shifts in life only. But of course, this person is fearless. So, this fearlessness in family relationships, this fearlessness would also create some problems. You might be fearless, but what your family is thinking about you, that is also very important. Person, of course, has very, very strong analytical mind. A person would have simple lifestyle because Ketu is in the second house. Second house is your lifestyle and values. Very, very simple. Right? So the person eventually prefer experiences over possessions. Experiences, he value experiences. Simple lifestyle personalities, I want to say. But see the family karma you have and the kind of speech problems in the sense your straightforward speech, your harsh, blunt speech, your wealth fluctuations, your loneliness, and once you get into all these troubles of family dynamics, you would think about your self-worth, right? Because second house is also about your self-value. The native sometimes question, maybe after there's all, family dynamics or kind of his harsh speech, he might be thinking, am I good enough? Why don't I feel fulfilled in my life? He might have these questions in his life, the self-worth questions. So this is the whole thing I can see. Mainly the karmic speech is the main disturbance. It carries a lot of weight. The speaking harshly can create, long-lasting consequences in your life. Maybe see, you're kind, you're thoughtful, right? You're very, very, you're a deep research-minded personality. But speaking harshly can create some kind of long-lasting consequences in your life. So, even during Ketu Mahadasha, this particular person, when running Ketu Mahadasha, he clearly experiences that detachment, that kind of spiritual growth, that kind of deep inner transformation, a separation from the loved ones. Because of that, he learns a lot. And now, fundamental remedies, I would say, worship of Lord Ganesha, right? Every day, no exception for you, right? You have to come out of your family problems, your harsh speech, and all your karmic debt. Worship Lord Ganesha every day. Chant one Ganesha mantra every day for 108 times, and worshipping of Lord Bhairava sometimes, because Bhairava is dog, basically dog related. So that is also can do well in your life, and that is another important thing I want to tell you. And now, Ketu mantra, chanting Ketu mantra is one important thing to eradicate all negative things and practice some mindful speech. How is your speech? Look at you. Just observe yourself, how you talked in a particular situation. Are you talking foolishly, mindlessly, very harsh and straightforward, blunt speech you have? And because of your speech, your family members are getting hurt or your loved ones are getting hurt? Just observe, control your speech. Just pause before speaking. With your speech, you don't think, if you speak in a, please don't think that, if you speak very bluntly, people would feel you're great. Do not be in that plane. Family is very much important. If you have family support, then with your perfectionism mentality, you can achieve even more great things in your life. So at least give respect to your family. Do not speak bluntly with your family. That's not at all a great thing. Donate food for the poor. Meditate sometimes in your life so that you will be grounded. Your energy levels will come down. Feed stray dogs. Give some food to them, right? Just to appease Ketu here. And also try to strengthen your Venus, because I can see Venus is a very, very benefic planet for Virgo ascendant, because being the second and ninth lord. Strengthen it. Wear white clothes. Appreciate some music. Listen to some good music. Add Venus to your life. And whenever you're doing some act, you do it diplomatically. Venus is all about diplomacy. So overall, I can see a very, very strong Ketu here. A Vargotama Ketu, a perfectionism, personality, perfect, mentality, and only the communication style, very, very blunt. So periods of financial fluctuation or dissatisfaction despite success, because I have seen one person is very, very, a very, very, he's a perfectionist, he's very good at so many things, but he has some kind of inner dissatisfaction because of his financial fluctuations. So if he had done some kind of remedies to Ketu, he would have been in a very, very great place financially also in his life. I can say that. Thanks for watching this video.